If your marriage is heading towards divorce court, gather here because I'm going to share 5 things to help you through this very difficult process. And these are 5 things I wish someone would have shared with me when I went through a divorce. But before we get into that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Maria Lloyd. I'm the author of a book titled Words Are Wealth, and I'm the owner of a marketing firm named Opens Clicks Cash. Now, I'm on a personal mission to help as many business owners as possible reach their first 6 figures in business. But today, I'm not going to talk about the business of marketing, CRM marketing automation, copywriting, email marketing, and so on and so forth. Today, I'm talking about the business of marriage and divorce. So, one of the main things that I want to make sure that you're aware of if you're going through this process is number one, it's okay to have people say, I'm sorry. But then it's also okay for people to say congratulations. Okay. And so oftentimes when people tell me that they're getting a divorce, that they're going through a divorce, I say both. I say, well, you know what? I'm sorry that you're going through this because I'm sure when you were at the altar, you had no idea or no foresight that this would end in the way that it's ending. But I also want to congratulate you because now you are having a second chance at life. So if this is where you are in your life or in your marriage, then I want to extend the same to you. I'm sorry because I know that this is a difficult time, but also congratulations because from this point forward, you can be a bit selfish and really focus on a better version of yourself. So, as we jump into the 5 things, I want to first preface this by letting you know that I am not a licensed therapist at all. And then also, I am not an attorney. So, what I am or who I am is just a person who has gone through this divorce and figured that it would be advantageous to share some insights with those of you who do not have some mentors or other people around you that can help you process this very difficult situation. Okay. So with that being said, the first thing I want to do, and you will see me look to my left, your right, on the screen because I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure I don't miss anything because this is really important. It's a transformational moment in your life, and I definitely want to make sure that I give you the information that you need to thrive. Okay. So the first thing is it's important for you to understand that the person that you married is not the person that you are currently divorcing. So with that being said, you want to hope for the best, but absolutely prepare for the worst. This is one of the hardest things for me to grapple with when I was going through my divorce. The entire time I was kind of, playing nice and thinking, oh, if I'm kind, maybe this process doesn't have to be as awful as it already is on its own. But the reality was, it just wasn't, it didn't work out that way. And so I had to quickly realize that, oh, wait, I'm in a war. I'm not prepared. I didn't have my armor. You make sure that, if you have a shared bank account, it's probably a good time to start pulling some money out of that account, at least your portion of the money. If you have some, anything that's kind of like shared that you think can be used against you, just go ahead and start kind of tightening those things up, call your insurance company, do these things so that you're not caught off guard when you discover that your soon to be ex-spouse is already ahead of the curve and doing all of these things that you didn't even think that they were thinking about. So just understand that the person that you married is not the person that you're currently divorcing. So prepare yourself. It's every man, woman, human being for themselves when it comes to divorce. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you do want to consult with an attorney as soon as possible. Do not delay this process, even if ultimately you and your spouse decide to reconcile. It's really good that you go ahead and consult with an attorney just to understand what are your options. This is especially true if you share some very large assets together. This is especially true if you have children together. So it's really important that you consult with an attorney. It doesn't mean that you have to sign any sort of contract and immediately start moving forward with the divorce. You can just pay for a $300, I guess maybe some others charge about $500, like a consultation. It's just an initial call where you're able to discuss what's happening in your marriage, and the attorney will advise you on the best way to approach the situation. So call the attorney as soon as possible. Number three, don't let family members distract you with should've, could've, would've, okay? One of the most frustrating things that I went through was, hearing from people that I really care about and whose opinions I value, saying things like, well, I knew you could have done better, or, whatever the issues were. Don't allow those people to distract you from the situation. It will get very annoying. And I've also just realized that when there's a divorce occurring, honestly, you have to allow your loved ones to grieve as well. So it may get a little annoying because in your mind, you're like, I'm the one who's going through this very awful experience. I don't really need you adding more fuel to the flame. But understand that your family is also being divorced from that spouse. So if they had a close relationship, there will be some emoting. There will be some should've, could've, would'ves. And my advice to you is just to not get caught up in that. Allow your family members and friends and your loved ones to emote. Allow them to share their thoughts and opinions, but do not internalize it. And also understand you don't have to listen to it. But ultimately don't internalize it. Because I will say that that was probably a very frustrating experience for me where, now after, everything is collapsing around me, on top of that, I have to hear from people that I love and care about saying, oh, well, you know, I just, I just wish that you would have, and it's like, yeah, too little, too late. I don't want to hear it now. So don't allow family members, friends, loved ones to distract you. Just let them do their thing, let them emote, let them grieve in their own way, but don't internalize it. The fourth thing, allow yourself to emote in safe spaces. And when I say safe spaces, meaning with a therapist. Again, keep in mind that in your process of divorcing from your spouse, your family members and other loved ones are also divorcing from your spouse. And so, even though their intentions may be well, they are biased, right? Whether they're in favor of you all staying together or perhaps they're in favor of you all divorcing. At the end of the day, you need a neutral party. You need to speak with someone who understands human behavior and is not emotionally tied to the outcome of your marriage. So that's very important. Make sure you get a therapist as soon as possible because honestly, you need someone to speak with. You're going to go through a series of emotions yourself. Some days you may feel like a superhero. Other days you may feel like garbage. Some days you may feel apathetic. Other days you may feel enraged, right? So as you're going through this roller coaster of emotions, you need someone who is skilled and trained in helping you process this. You don't need to go talk to mom and them and talk to your best friend and talk to all these other people who, again, they may mean well, but you still need to find an objective person who can really help you process these emotions. And then fifth and final is that you want to refrain from dating during the divorce process and even a little while after the divorce is finalized. Now, I understand that this may be tough for a few people, especially if your divorce is hung up in court over, assets, over kids and all of that stuff. I get it, but I'm telling you, it is really advantageous for you to wait. Do not bring another person into a situation that is rocky. It doesn't mean that you may potentially get back with the partner that you're divorcing, But the reality is, because it's so complex and there are so many things happening in the process of divorce, the last thing you want to do is get yourself involved in a new relationship with another person with whom you have to learn and try to understand their flaws. They have to understand your flaws. When you're starting a relationship, it really does require your undivided attention. And if you're currently ending a relationship and pursuing a new one at the same time, there's no way that you can give that new person, even if you've known this person for a long time, there's no way that you can give that new person the attention that they deserve. And quite frankly, it's not fair for that new person to have to deal with your divorce. It's just not fair to them. Okay, that's your relationship. Those are your decisions with this other person. So, quite frankly, it's best to refrain from dating. Allow yourself to go through the trouble of divorcing. Allow yourself to experience all the emotions associated with divorce and just leave other people out of it. Same thing, even after your divorce, I strongly encourage you to give yourself some breathing room. Give yourself at least 6 months to just simply breathe. Don't get yourself wrapped up in yet another relationship when you've just ended one in divorce. Allow yourself to breathe. You are now starting a new life. You're starting a new identity. Think about it. You've spent time with the person that you married, planning this life together, right? And so now you're having to start anew and figure things out. You may have to live in another home. You may have to move to another state or country. You may have to develop new circles of friends and community and support. There are so many changes that happen post divorce. So give yourself an opportunity to learn this new version of yourself. And you can't do that if you are also trying to learn this other person. You're actually cutting yourself short. So give yourself time to rebuild and to create a new identity for yourself before you start dating. So that's all I have for now. I will tell you, well, no, that's not quite all that I have for now. As a bonus, I do want to say that, it gets better. It absolutely gets better. I don't care if you were in a situation where you wanted the divorce, or maybe your spouse wanted the divorce, and you didn't want the divorce, or whatever your situation is, I promise you it gets better, but you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to face the aftermath of your decisions. You have to be willing to forgive yourself. You have to be willing to accept your newness, the newness in your life. So it does get better, I promise you, but you have to accept some differences. And that can be the hardest part of this entire situation. With that being said, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification bell so that way you can be informed when I share new content. Again, I usually don't share a lot of personal content, but in the words of John Hope Bryant, I am a public person living a private life. And so from time to time, I will sprinkle in some personal content here and there. And this is one of those times. So again, make sure you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that notification bell so that you can get updates about new content. Also, please comment below if you are going through a divorce or perhaps you avoided divorce. What are some things that you have learned in this process? And again, I just want to say, if you are going through this very unfortunate situation, I'm sorry, but I also want to congratulate you because now you have another chance at loving again, whether the love is more focused on self, which it should be, or, loving someone else in the future. This is a second shot. And so just embrace the journey and allow yourself to grow. So I look forward to reading your comments. And thank you so much for tuning in. Always remember, content is currency and words are wealth. Peace.